Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the post-shot California webinar. We have all returned from shot, most people from FFLGuard being ill. Matt Cubiero, our California counsel over there, escaped it all as he was attending a seminar out in Orange County, California. Chuck Michele is also here. He joined us, but he was smart enough to be in and out at shot fast enough to not catch the crud. And Alexis and I are still sort of dealing with a little bit of it, but we are well enough to at least show our faces today. If you are a California client and you are unaware, the federal webinar that occurs 1 hour before the California webinar every week is for all clients. That is the webinar where the majority of the information that we put out monthly for our clients on webinars will occur at the federal webinar. The California webinar is an add-on for our California clients, so that the other 49 or 48, 49, yeah, did we even count Hawaii? They don't even allow guns. Don't have to listen to the mess of which is we call California. So this is a special webinar to keep all of you California clients informed on what's happening specifically in the state of California. So please, if you are joining the California calls and not the federal webinars, we do ask that you do both, or at least go back and watch the federal webinars when we release the links from the recordings. So I'm going to just ask Alexis real quick to give just a brief synopsis of what we saw, what we talked about at SHOT from the federal level. Again, if you did not see today's federal, we ask that you go back and watch it. There was a lot of information that Mike Franzak and Mike Bouchard put out regarding ATF and FBI and NICS and all of that good stuff. But I'm just going to ask Alexis to give us a little synopsis, and then we're going to turn it over to Chuck and Matt today.
Yeah. So just like I said, just kind of quick and succinct. Biggest thing, of course, is everybody wants to know what's going on with FFLs and what's going on with ATF and inspection and all of that. The #1 attended program that was completely sold out at SHOT was actually the program that Chris was on the panel for regarding inspections and all that's happening. It also included our friends over at Fastbound, Jameson Collins, as well as Travis Gulliver and JC Clark. Again, #1 attended program there, line waiting, no seats left. And I think that really speaks volumes about what we're seeing and what's happening with ATF right now. Other questions that we wanted to address, a couple things that are very important. Right now, a lot of folks are getting violations for no NICS check, right? No background check, releasing without a background check. This brings up something that is very important to discuss with our California clients, which is that a background check is valid from the day you call in for the check. It doesn't matter what DOJ says. Cal DOJ does not have the authority to change that. That is a federal regulation. It is valid from the day you call for 30 days. And the way you count those 30 days is the day you call is day 1. Okay, the day you request the check is day 1. It is valid from 30 calendar days past that, nothing more. It doesn't matter what time you called, you get the 30 days. The day you call is day 1, even if you call it 10 o'clock at night, okay? So again, we have had so many clients in a bind because their point of contact said, no, it's valid 30 days from the day we give you a response. That is not accurate, okay? That is determined by FBI, NICS, and ATF. That is their regulation. The local authority can't change that. Now then, if they want to duke it out and figure something else out, absolutely. But for now, that's where it stands. And again, super important for California because they seem to be one of the biggest perpetrators. Our team has talked with ATF and FBI, NICS. They've said, quote unquote, they're handling it and that those things will be addressed. But we don't know what that means. So for your own knowledge, it's only valid from 30 days from the day you call. Additionally, we have a lot of other questions that came up, what about these specific, for instances? It just highlights even more than ever that you've got to have a proactive compliance plan, right? You have got to have policies and procedures that you're adhering to, that in a training program for your staff, all of those things, because after the fact, it's not enough, right? You need to do your inventories, right, Brian? That was huge. You got to do an inventory. You got to know what guns are on premise. It is your responsibility. If you're not doing it at least quarterly, gun to book, book to gun, you're going to find yourself in a bind. Brian, what else would you like to add to that?
Well, it's California, so they don't have to worry so much about the NFA wait times.
Not so much.
They don't have to worry about that at all, or multiple sale reports. It's mainly just that ATF is on the prowl. Word is out. The revocation numbers are out and published. And we at FFLGuard, we're here to help you be proactive. We continue to ask you, and it's funny to say to the people on the webinar because you do attend it, but if you're not attending webinars, if you're not utilizing our ticketing system, if you're not doing your inventory and you're not being proactive, you're going to end up in trouble these days. It's just a no-brainer, especially the inventory one. So remember, FFLGuard does offer site visits. We can come to you for a nominal amount of money. I can tell you that every client that I have ever visited has never so much as been to a warning conference, because we're finding things and we're being proactive and we're self-reporting and getting out. So I just ask you to take a look into our site visit and our deep dive services. And although I am not the most California DOJ savvy, I got a guy like Coach Cubiero on speed dial. So if I'm with a California client and I need to know something immediately, Matt and Chuck are always there for me to contact and get answers. And with that being said, let's turn it over to the two California superstars. Chuck, you're the man with the name on the hat. Do you want to start?
Sure. So just in terms of sort of litigation updates and things that could change the game out here. Hold on one sec. Shit. There's a couple of assault weapon cases. I use that term pejoratively. There's a couple of semi-auto cases working through the courts. Miller is in the Ninth Circuit. It was orally argued. They did a very good job at the oral. The challengers did a very good job at the oral argument. But the court ultimately decided, the three-judge panel decided to hold the case, not issue a decision until after a decision came down on Duncan, which is the magazine possession ban, which is now en banc. So that may happen in some of the other cases that are in the Ninth Circuit in front of three-judge panels. Boland, which is the roster challenge, I suspect will be held until after Duncan rules. We haven't gotten a decision on Rhodey yet. Rhodey is Kim Rhodey is joined us as plaintiff to challenge the ammunition background check and internet sales ban of ammo. I expect we're going to get a good decision out of Judge Benitez, Saint Benitez, any day now. And he will apply the Bruin methodology correctly. Let me just look at my list here on some of these other cases. We got two gun show cases still in action in the Ninth Circuit. Those will probably not be held pending Duncan, because they're more First Amendment cases than Second Amendment cases. We won one in the district court. And there was a gun show last weekend in Costa Mesa. Crossroads is now booking gun shows again at the venues that they've been at. We have a lawsuit going against the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department over their delays. They're taking up to a year in issuing permits. I just heard that some other counties are taking similarly long times, but we don't need to sue everybody because a good decision in the LA County Sheriff case will become precedent across the state. We're also challenging Laverne for charging $1,000 for a CCW. So if we can get people to be able to get CCWs quickly and without them getting priced out of the market by exorbitant fees, that should significantly increase the demand for carry guns and result in more business for you guys. And also, if we can get the roster knocked out, we've got a few more guns added, but not enough. We need the tens of thousands of models that are available in every other state for you guys to be able to sell. We have a junior sports magazine, which we got a great decision on. That's the one that bans marketing to minors. That case, they're sitting on it. The state asked for en banc review, and they're sitting on that en banc request. If they don't get en banc review, then we will have one. That will be the end of it. May v. Vanta, that was the SB2 challenge where we challenged their over-designation of places as sensitive where your CCW was invalid. And we won there. That's now in the Court of Appeals and has been consolidated with or coordinated with Walford, which is the case out of Hawaii, and another SB2 challenge in California. So those three cases are all going to be argued on I think it's May 11th. We just got a notice of the oral argument date. Richards v. Bonta. You remember which one that is?
The video recording requirement for FFLs.
Yeah, we're trying to, this is a big one for California dealers. We're trying to knock out the requirement that you have 24-hour video surveillance on your shop and your counter and your bathroom and every other place they want you to stick a camera that records forever. So we're working on that one. We just had to do supplemental briefing on that one. We'll see how that goes. The gun safety GSSA, Gun Safety Save the Children Initiative, whatever the hell it was called, which would have required you to pay a licensing fee every year for every gun and imposed a whole bunch of other draconian requirements. We were gearing up to oppose that and try and keep it off the ballot. That was a ballot measure by a Northern California district attorney. And he didn't get enough signatures. So that one died, thank God, because that was a fight. That would have been an expensive fight that we'd prefer to avoid. And then you've got in the Supreme Court, you still have Rahimi. We'll see a decision from that by June. I suspect that Mr. Rahimi they will uphold the law that disarmed him, took his right to have firearms away, because he went through the hearing and was found to be dangerous, so he couldn't possess firearms. The question is going to be, will the Supreme Court clarify the methodology that needs to be applied under the Bruin decision? And that is the big battle that we're having in every court, in every case across the country, because the states are trying to, with the help of Everytown Law and the lawyers there, trying to change the methodology to make it easier to uphold the constitutionality of a gun ban. They're doing that by trying to move. Remember, Bruin sets up a two-step process. Is the conduct being regulated covered by the text of the Second Amendment? And that is not just self-defense firearms. That is firearms for all lawful uses. And that is not just firearms. That's also the right to repair, the right to travel with a gun, the right to get a CCW, the right to go to a shooting range. All of those ancillary rights are also protected by the text, but they want to fight that. They want to say that the only thing that's covered are guns that are commonly used for self-defense, which happens to be what Heller and Bruin addressed, because that was the law being challenged, not because they didn't limit it to that when they applied the test, but that's what the states are trying to argue. And then the second portion is, if it is covered, if the conduct is covered, is there a historically analogous law some kind of a law that existed in 1791 when the founders wrote the Second Amendment that would indicate that the kind of conduct being regulated now is the kind of conduct that the founders would have tolerated being regulated then. And depending on how loosey-goosey they get with finding analog laws that are similar in some sense to a modern day law, if this is probably the most dangerous portion of the methodology, is if they go loosey-goosey on what a qualifying analog law from 1791 is, then they could almost justify any modern day law. So that methodology, that whether it's applied faithfully to Bruin or not, is the big test on whether or not any gun law is going to be struck down or upheld. And that's the fight that's going on in Duncan. That's the fight that's going on in Rahimi. That's the fight that's going on in New York, in multiple other places across the country. So a win or loss on methodology, whatever case it comes up in, is going to make a difference in all the other cases. I think that's about it. I'll take questions. But Matt, what do you want to brief us on DOJ's activities and regulatory stuff? Oh, one other thing. The 11th edition of the book is out. And every dealer really should have one of these in your reference library. And there will be an ebook, searchable electronic version available too. Just go to calgunlawsbook.com and you'll get the latest information. Right now, we're back ordered. But we should have another 2,000 books in stock in the first week of February.
So yeah, lots of changes this year. And so there was a significant amount of work that went into the edition of the book this year. So if you guys haven't already, as Chuck said, I would strongly encourage you to get a copy because there's been so many things that have changed as of January 1st and beyond. It is January 1st, of course. So most of you are going through the process of getting your COEs renewed. Hopefully you submitted your COE renewals in a timely fashion and aren't running into issues as far as your responsible persons / DES managers losing access and therefore losing the ability to process DROS transactions. As I stress every single time I mention this, it's always a good idea to have more than one person that's in charge of the DES systems for your business. This way, should one person lose their COE for some reason because DOJ doesn't process it in a timely manner, or they just simply forgot to submit the renewal on time, you won't lose access to the DES system entirely. You'll at least still have that one person that can process those DROS transactions. So if you're having trouble with that, unfortunately, DOJ has made pretty clear that they're going to process COEs in the order that they're received. So that's why the moment it becomes available for you to do so, you need to submit your COE renewal applications in a very timely fashion here. With the SB 1384 case, Richards v. Bonta, the DOJ has now stated unequivocally in their briefing that they do not consider the video recording requirements to apply to gun shows. So when you are attending a gun show in California as a FFL business, you do not need to worry about the video recording requirements, at least according to DOJ's briefing for the time being. So
Yeah,
that's
of course, they didn't get into any analysis on that. And as far as we can tell, it does apply to gun shows, but they don't want it to apply to gun shows. So they're just making this policy exemption because the judge has signaled to them that if it applies to gun shows, that's a First Amendment violation and a problem. So they ran away from that. But I'm sorry, Matt, go ahead on home dealer.
Yeah. So that we were at the gun show in Orange County last weekend, and the DOJ expressly told the organizers of the show there that they're not going to be prosecuting or enforcing the video recording requirements for any of the FFLs that are attending the shows, at least here in California. So good thing there that if you guys are planning on attending any of the upcoming shows, just be aware of that. Of course, if there are any changes to that policy for whatever reason or changes because of the litigation, we'll, of course, let you know through FFLGuard as soon as we know something. In regards to CCW stuff, as Chuck mentioned, Senate Bill 2, we have the new DOJ regulations for the instructors. For those of you that have on-staff instructors, like you have a range attached to your FFL business or something like that, just know that we're obviously paying close attention to how this is impacting the ability for individuals to obtain CCWs. We might be amending one of our existing lawsuits, like Chuck mentioned, the LASD lawsuit, if this becomes a serious problem. But the only thing that I could tell you as of right now, we have some general information for you that we can send around to you, that you can send to your instructors, is that they need to contact their local issuing authority to see specifically what they're going to be requiring as far as their instructors for existing pending renewal applications and future initial applicants. There is under the statute, the possibility that you can still teach the courses under the prior statutory requirements if the applications for the individuals that you're providing the instruction for were submitted prior to the new year. But again, that's something that you're going to have to consult your issuing authorities with as instructors for the issuing agency to make sure that that's something that they will accept moving forward here into the new year. Beyond that, the CRPA, I think, Chuck, I'm not sure if you mentioned, we were an amicus brief on the Garland v. Cargill case.
Cargill, yeah.
Up in front of the Supreme Court, which will have oral arguments here. That's the case that challenges the ATF's regulatory interpretation of bump stocks as machine guns. That doesn't have a whole lot of impact here in California, simply because California has its own restrictions on bump stocks and similar devices under its own statutes. Nevertheless, that could be an indication of where ATF might be going as far as its regulatory authority in regards to pistol braces, which would have a significant effect here in California if the ATF ultimately loses its court cases that are challenging its regulatory authority over pistol braces, because that will have an effect here in California if that is the case. So just again, as soon as we have updates litigation-wise on that type of issue, we'll let you know as soon as we know. So
our big point in that case was that if you adopt the logic that the ATF is arguing for, it would be easy enough for states to take the next leap and say, well, okay, all semi-automatics can be converted to fully automatics, so states can ban all semi-automatics, which is what the Seventh Circuit basically said in the Illinois case that we're working on.
So that's it for me.
All right. And there you go with another round of California battles that our boys have in hand. And if you are a California dealer with FFLGuard and you're not a member of CRPA, you should be. If you're not getting involved in these lawsuits with Chuck and Matt, you should be. Please, contact us, whether it be through the ticketing system. We can connect you directly to Chuck's office to get involved, especially if you are a home-based dealer in California. Chuck and Matt are looking for home-based dealers in California to join this videotaping fight so that you don't have to put cameras all over your house. In fact, I think that this may have even, there's a big dealer out there in California that this is wreaking some havoc with, isn't there, Chuck? So
yeah, Big Five estimated it would cost $40,000 per store to put cameras in over their gun counter, and so they've stopped selling guns in California.
That's unbelievable.
I think they had 180 stores in California, something like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's unbelievable. So again, folks, please stay proactive, continue to stay in touch with us, continue to join the webinars, get the Chuck's book on your shelves. I believe I have my copy here. I didn't get a signed copy this year, so I don't feel important anymore. But I want you all to make sure you're staying proactive and you're doing your inventory and you're having us out to your shop. And if you don't see how well or how good that is, I mean, that's what you're with FFLGuard for. It's for us to help keep you out of trouble, not wait until you get in trouble and try and unwind the axle. So Alexis, unless you have anything else to add,
No, I'm good.
All right, then we will see you all again. We have not yet calendared next month's call.
We have a question.
Oh, we do have a question. It just popped in here, Chuck. Does the
Yeah,
video?
Matt, did you see the question?
Yeah, so the question is, does the audio video recording requirement need to be for ammo transactions? So the requirement applies if you are a California firearm licensed dealer. So if you happen to be selling ammunition, you still have to obviously have audio video recording requirements met by nature of you being a licensed FFL in California. If, however, you are strictly an ammunition vendor that does not actually sell firearms as part of its business, then you are not subject to the video recording requirements.
But you still have to have a license to sell ammunition.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So we have not yet scheduled next month's call yet. We do have a couple more shows coming up. Alexis is going to go and be at NBS in Fort Worth. I will be out at the Worldwide Show in Reno. Alexis and I and my brother will be in Phoenix for Sports Inc. in 2 weeks. So we hope to see you guys. And again, please, if you got friends that are FFLs as well, refer them on over to us. Oh, hold on a second. There you go, Matt. Follow-up question.
So again, if you are a licensed dealer, you need to have the video recording requirements going 24/7. And it's wherever firearms are displayed, your entry and exit points, and wherever firearm transactions take place. That's where the video recording needs to cover. So if you're conducting ammunition transactions in those same areas, then yes, that will still need to be recorded.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, we will make sure that we get an email and e-blasts out to you for next month's meeting, and we appreciate you all coming in or coming back to watch the recording. Have a good week.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.